Daredevil is soon to be born again, with his new show on Disney Plus promising to uphold the legacy of the first show that originated on Netflix and take it in new directions, planting it firmly in the MCU. So to prepare, let's catch up on the original's 3-season run and watch for possibly returning storylines. Hello and welcome to Television Tuesday, the show where we talk TV on a Tuesday and tell you all about it. I'm your host, Jackson Hamm, and today we're talking about Daredevil.
I'm not seeking penance for what I've done, Father. I'm asking forgiveness for what I'm about to do.
The first season of Daredevil follows the rise of Matt Murdock's alter ego dubbed the Devil of Hell's Kitchen, uncovering the deep and far-reaching corruption of his home. While at night Matt beats criminals into submission and dishes out brutal justice, he is building a career with his best friend Foggy Nelson, running the startup defense law firm Nelson and Murdock. From the first case they take, Matt and his alter ego are set on a collision course with Wilson Fisk. A rather reclusive individual, Fisk is at the center of the criminal conspiracy as the kingpin of crime. As the season progresses, both Matt and Fisk must face the past, present, and decide their future in the fight for Hell's Kitchen. Season 1 was a revelation for superhero TV shows, which had become a popular advent in the 2010s when shows like Arrow and The Flash garnered attention and praise for bringing the superhero niche to the small screen. Daredevil hit the scene with gritty realism, expert writing, and some of the best casting in comic book adaptations. Not only did it raise the bar for quality in superhero TV shows, but it also started a trend in the Marvel Netflix shows with the iconic hallway fight scene. The second season picks up with the Devil of Hell's Kitchen facing down a dangerous new foe that's aiming at various gangs in New York, slaughtering them with expertise and brutality. Eventually coming face to face with Frank Castle the Punisher, Matt must examine why he operates in the way he does. Eventually Frank is apprehended, and who else is up to defend him but Nelson and Murdock? But after one fire is seemingly extinguished, another pops up in his old flame Elektra Nachos. Now Matt must juggle his identities as he is drafted into a secret war. In the end, Matt loses the trust of his closest friends, and as Daredevil loses Elektra, as she is killed in a battle with the Hand. Season 2 tends to be the most critiqued, probably due to how it opts for two very distinct plot lines instead of a singular focus. I know most of us would have loved a whole season dedicated to Punisher, but I like this season. It ain't no season 1, but it still hits in my opinion.
Someone cooked here.
In between seasons 2 and 3 of Daredevil, Matt did a little team up with the other Marvel Netflix shows. In the fallout of season 2, Matt has mostly left behind his second identity of Daredevil, trying to rekindle the trust of his closest friends and focus on his career. Soon enough, he shows up to defend Jessica Jones and uncovers another conspiracy constructed by the Hand, who seem to be on the verge of completing their shadowy goals. As Matt unites with his fellow street-level heroes, he discovers that the Hand has resurrected Elektra and twisted her into a weapon for their desires. Now fighting a shadow war against the Hand with Jessica Jones, Luke Cage, and the immortal Iron Fist.
The immortal Iron Fist, living weapon and protector of the ancient city, is still a thundering dumbass.
In the end, Matt sacrifices himself to save the others by fighting Elektra until a building can be collapsed upon them. But, twist, he didn't die. It is probably the second worst received Netflix Marvel show next to Iron Fist, but Matt is easily the best part of it.
You look like an asshole.
It's your scarf.
And to me, has the best storyline. The Defenders is a nice addition for Matt's character and honestly could have served as a tragic send-off for him. Though I know we're all happy he lived so we could get the third and final season of Daredevil. Being nursed back to health by a nun in the church he attends, Matt must come back from the brink and face Wilson Fisk once more. Hinted at in the second season, Fisk has only brokered more power while behind bars, now working a deal with the FBI that puts him back as the kingpin of crime in New York. Embracing his darker side, Matt almost completely leaves behind his civilian life this season, and the dichotomy grows as Fisk employs a talented FBI agent Poindexter to impersonate Daredevil and ruin his reputation. As the season goes on, Matt and his allies remain on the back foot, but all of this comes to a head as Fisk is exposed for manipulating Poindexter. On the wedding night of Fisk and Vanessa, a three-way fight breaks out between Poindexter, Matt, and Fisk himself. At the end of this fight, Fisk is finally beaten, and Matt struggles with his decision to kill him or spare him. Then the season ends as Matt and Foggy officially induct Karen into their now reunited law firm. Season 3 is one of the most intense seasons of TV I have seen in my life. The power Fisk commands in this season is genuinely terrifying and truly makes him live up to the name Kingpin. Throughout, Matt feels like he is losing at every turn until he finally releases his dark desires and spares Fisk's life. This season not only continued the story in a way that made sense after The Defenders, but managed to explore characters new and old in depth, making for a satisfying conclusion even if the show itself was cut short. Matt has popped up in a few cameos here and there since the end of his original show, but we're approaching the release of the reboot, continuation, spiritual successor, whatever they're calling it now, in Daredevil Born Again. Let's talk about what elements from the original show could pop up in this new one. The plotline that went throughout the original show's run was Matt's juggling of identities, and from the trailer of Born Again, it seems that he has left behind the Daredevil identity once more after, quote,
The line was crossed.
A plot I'd like to see is what happened between now and the end of Season 3. Picking up with a time skip can be fine, but something as small as a montage of events showing what transpired between the original show and Born Again can help bridge the gap between the two. Fisk returns in this show after having major appearances in Hawkeye and Echo. This time he is seen making a big run for the mayor of New York City, which is very in line with his original character and can be linked back to his father, who ran for a seat on the city council as seen in flashbacks from Season 1. Talking about legacy, back when Born Again was first coming together, Michael Gandolfini was cast in the show. Much speculation has been cast upon what role he will be filling, and to me, a rather compelling theory makes the case that he could be a chip off the old Fisk block in Wilson's son, Richard Fisk. This is unconfirmed, and new reports show that his character's name will be Daniel Blade, so we'll have to wait and see how that theory pans out. Agent Poindexter returns in his more well-known alter ego from the comics, Bullseye. This was set up in one of the final scenes of Season 3 and left us Daredevil fans waiting for any kind of Season 4 so we could finally get a proper Daredevil versus Bullseye showdown. Luckily, we will finally be getting that in Born Again. In the original show, Matt formed many alliances and friendships over the entire run, given his dry humor and wit. It always came easy, especially with the ladies, because Matt Murdock. I look forward to seeing what new alliances and paths are forged in Born Again, especially considering that it is now in the MCU proper, where the original show existed more in a middle ground. Last, but certainly not least, an old face returns in Frank Castle. What can we expect other than the bloody rampage of the Punisher? I'm not sure. However, I can say that Frank is a welcome addition to the show, as his dynamic with Matt in Season 2 was one of the strongest elements. All we can hope is that this show continues to show the Punisher in his element, blemishes and all, or should I say bloodstains and all. Now, Daredevil Born Again has had a long road to being released. The show was originally announced in July of 2022 at San Diego Comic-Con, being revealed to have 18 episodes in its first season, implying there were more seasons to come. Just a little over a year after 6 episodes had been filmed, the show was halted and said to be going through a creative overhaul, with the original writers and directors being released after a disappointing internal review of what had been put together that sources say was a major divergence from the original show with far less connections to it. A new team was eventually assembled, including a writer from the Netflix Punisher show, and a new direction was decided, one that was more akin to the original and connected to it far more than the original vision. One of these decisions was splitting the originally announced 18-episode seasons into 2 9-episode seasons. The creative overhaul came at a time that seems to be ongoing with Marvel Studios as they reorganize plans announced in years past to seemingly prepare for a semi-reboot. Daredevil Born Again has a lot riding on it, as a continuation of a widely loved and lauded show that many of us fans know was cut down in its prime. As of the making of this video, we are approaching 10 years since the original season aired, and how fateful it is that Born Again is released just a month ahead of that anniversary. All we Daredevil fans can hope for is a faithful continuation that not only honors and respects the original show, but moves us forward to a new era of storytelling for our favorite devil from Hell's Kitchen. Be sure to tell me what you hope to see in Daredevil Born Again in the comments below, and if you think it will reach close to the original show or fall from grace. That brings us to the end of this episode of Television Tuesday. You can check out all kinds of other episodes of Television Tuesday. There's also our sister show, Studio Cinema Saturday, that you can check out as well. And our new show, Buying a Film Its First Drink, where a film turns 21 and we buy it a drink. I also implore you to check out our short films and skits as well, because while we like to talk about movies, we like to make them too. Also, be sure to like and subscribe if you enjoyed this video, because I will be right back here covering the entirety of Daredevil Born Again Season 1 once it wraps up. And thank you for watching.